Have a goal of any sort and keep yourself in the game for a couple months, it's always good to consider getting into a competition. This is the Shamrock Shuffle in Chicago, Illinois, and it just started getting warm, but all these crazy people are getting ready to do an 8K. It goes way down there, then goes all the way over here. This is all along Grant Park and Lakeshore Drive. So what I do is I've done marathons before, and I haven't been training for this. I just wanted to do a walk. So you can always sign up for the event. It's usually about 3 months ahead, and then keep that event ticket for the time being. Whether you actually get into compete or not, it's not the issue. It's just trying to get a goal, keep to the goal, and as you see the time winding down, it just makes you more efficient with sticking to your training schedule. Whether you train to do an event like a 5K or a marathon or half marathon or a mud run, or you just train, it just gives you honesty and something to answer to. So this is an option in case you don't have a large group around you. Usually if you go to the big cities, they're always going to give a discount at the event, unless you have a local event. If you're Chicago, then check out Chicago Area Runners Association, CARA. They have a list of the events. So this is called the start corral. You get into these areas or bins where everybody begins the race. So they corral everybody in here, and then we start them up front. That's typically what happens when we start in the corral. So you start in the corral, get past there, usually let you go in waves, and then we're on our way. This one is the walking group. So the walking group, which is pretty big, way down there. There's first aid stations along the track of the 8K. There's one, I think, that's along the track of the 2-mile walk. But they also have, I think that person's a wandering first aid station, so they walk around just making sure everybody's okay with injuries and hydration. So you really can't have any problems. It's really easy to walk.
And Betsy, Rose, Heather Navia, Brett Fulks, Rachel Ellingsworth, Sarah Cash, Oscar Molina, Brittany Ciuta, Arlene, Julia James, and Amy Lynn, and Daisy Guzman, Ivan Mason, Irene Foley, and Jazzy Sabine, Mary, Vicki Williams.
Here's the finish line. So it wasn't too bad. So having things, accomplishments is always important. These things are cool. Once you grab enough of these medals, it's always going to be fun to accumulate a trophy case. But more importantly, the idea of sustainable lifestyle change, or summer running, is more to initiate something different that might be able to get you to a level of anti-inflammatory living. If you're on a bunch of medicines now, then sometimes if you initiate a change, you might not see a change in your waist or your weight, but you might be able to maybe lower your blood pressure a couple ticks, initiate some kind of change in your cholesterol. These things take some time. That's why I'd say take advantage of the summer, because you got, in Chicago, we got 4 months of sunshine, and then it's going back to winter again. And you know, every winter everybody always gains weight. The problem is that the sedentary lifestyle doesn't help you with burning calories, and if you don't have an ultimate goal, it's always going to be something where you're accountable for some time period or some accomplishment. Put it on a calendar. I always say that if you have big groups around you, you might want to take advantage of investing in those groups. Tai Chi group, CrossFit group, Walk to Run group. There's a couple of places called Dick Ponds. They're running stores that they offer free walk to run programs. If you check out your park district, wherever you are, might be able to get into something where you just kind of tag along and experience. Now, it doesn't have to be, in fact, I wouldn't do the same old thing that you did before. When I hear things like, I know what to do, I just have to do it, for me, if it didn't maintain you or if it wasn't easily sustainable before, then don't go back to doing the same thing. If your business didn't make it before and you went bankrupt, would you do the same business plan again? I probably wouldn't. So running just is so easy. It's outdoors, you just get a pair of sneakers, you don't have to really run. There's actually walk programs too, or walk contests. This thing I just did, this Shamrock Shuffle, usually it's an 8K, but thank God they allowed us to walk. I see a lot of people that were handicapped on the trail. You probably see in the video a couple folks that were limping. And that's cool because they're not stopping with their disability. They're trying to push on. So you'll be able to peruse different magazines or websites to find out what's available. If you just look for 5K walk to run or walk/run, those are the ones I'd invest in. It'll keep you honest. You'll have an endpoint or a deadline. You know, just like if you have a wedding and you're trying to lose weight to fit into the wedding gown, that's very sustainable. It keeps you on point as far as accountability. If you don't have that kind of a drive or that kind of an event, just create one. That's why I mentioned if you look into 5Ks, walks, runs, whatever you want to do, or if you invest in, say, 3 weeks of a Park District Tai Chi class, or 3 weeks of a CrossFit class, 3 weeks of something that's coming up there, you can give it a try, you can sustain yourself. If you don't like it, fine, take it off the list, try something different. In Chicago, we got 4 months of really nice weather, and then you have the bookends to that, and then you have deep cold. So I usually say if you haven't figured out a way to make a sustainable change throughout the winter, and that's what's going to be the real trial, is the changes that you find that are fun to continue with, that you adopt in the summer, if you can continue those things in the winter, indoors obviously, or your alternatives, then that's a change that you can take on with the next couple decades. Because as you age, the risk factors increase. I usually say that in your 20s and 30s, you won't feel anything. You can go through bad habits, you can go through risky behavior, but you won't feel it. It's not until your doctor says, hey, you gotta watch out. But in your 40s and 50s, you will start to manifest it either in blood testing or in symptoms. Then in your 60s and 70s, impact occurs. That's when disease blossoms. And unfortunately, if you go back and ask anybody with a heart attack, a cancer, or a stroke, what would you do different? They would want to go back to when they were in their 30s to make the changes, but you know, we're not driven that way. So please try to make a sustainable change that's healthy. Investigate different things that you might not have thought before. Try to find a group that can get you, you know, the energy of the 5K or the 8K that we just went through. Even if you don't want to do it, just getting into that big crowd kind of perks you up because you can carry yourself with the energy of the group. So getting into a like-minded individual group, it might be able to carry you during those times in the morning you just don't feel like exercising, again, because of the accountability. So investigate, keep the ears open, be aware of what's coming your way, and don't be afraid to try something different. So hopefully running is your way to do it, but don't limit yourself there. There's biking, there's other things, just be open.